This is Mr. Smith, and let's go over a crash course on recording and editing audio. Now, I'm not going to go over everything with this video. That's going to be saved for other videos, but this will at least be enough to get you started. Now, my go-to program for recording and editing audio on a computer happens to be Audacity. If you're using a phone, you're going to have a whole variety of apps that you can mess with for that. I'm not going to go into that here. If you're using a Chromebook, you're not going to be able to use Audacity, but there is a web-based option called Online Voice Recorder with hyphens in between those three words, .com. And this is not going to do everything for you, but it will allow you to record audio, crop out what you want to use for that audio, and then download that file. This is all done on your computer. It's not transferred to their server, so there's no worry about privacy issues with that. And we are going to ignore this now and go back to Audacity because this is not a tutorial on Online Voice Recorder. Now, Audacity will run on Windows, Mac, and Linux. If you're on a Mac, you still might want to use Audacity for some things, but you might not prefer it just because you've got GarageBand, which is a very robust program in and of itself. Not going to go into that. I happen to use Windows and Linux, so we're going to just mess with this. Now, this is the downloaded, installed, and opened version already because I can't be bothered to have you watching progress bars. It's worth noting that if you have not plugged in your microphone before you open Audacity, it won't know you have a microphone. It only checks when you open it. If you do that and you have it open, you can start recording simply by pressing this little red button right here. Double check to make sure your microphone and speaker settings are correct, because otherwise you're going to wonder what's going on. I press this red button, and now it is recording my voice. Now, it's recording in stereo, which is not a big deal because I've got one microphone, so it's not going to really do much. I can press stop. Pressing stop is important. Most people forget to. You'd think that that's not the case, but that is. People will press pause, people will go in and try to edit while it's recording. You can't do anything while it is playing or recording, other than recording or playing. But now that I have stopped it, I can go back and play this, and now it is recording my voice. Now it's recording. I can select an area. Maybe I don't want this little bit of silence at the beginning. I can select that and press backspace or delete. It goes away. I can use this button here to drag the clip forward and backward. That's not so important when it's a single clip, but it is useful if you have background music. Matter of fact, let's get some background music. Let's go to music. Let's get something from the YouTube audio library. It doesn't really matter what I grab and drag over here. I literally just drug that right in. And maybe I want my voice to show up after the song opens up a little bit. So I'm going to drag that over, and now when I hit play, now that's a little loud. I can turn this down. I can just go to this little plus minus thing here and drag this down a little bit. And now it is recording my voice. Now it's recording in stereo, which is not a big deal. Okay, now maybe I don't want my voice to stop and then the song goes on for several minutes afterwards. People might not want to hear that. I got to go back up to the select tool here. I am going to select all this extra music at the end, backspace or delete. I'm going to select this part here. I'm going to go up to effect. I'm going to go down to fade out. And now, after I'm done talking, the music slowly fades out into silence. Not the best audio editing job here, but I'm showing you the basics. With that said, time to give this to somebody else. Now, if you go to File and you go to Save, it's going to save it as an Audacity project. That's going to be a small text file with a lot of audio files that are in a separate folder. That's not something that you can share with other people very well unless they also have Audacity and they open up everything in a nice, neat manner, which doesn't always happen. Instead, you're going to want to go to Export. Now, there's a lot of options here. Used to be you could not export as MP3 unless you installed something separate. This has changed, so if Audacity is asking you to install something else to get export as MP3 working, update Audacity. You're using an older version. I click on export as MP3. It's going to ask me for a name, going to ask me for a location. I'm just going to save this in downloads because why not? Not going to change the name because it's a tutorial. Got a lot of options here. You don't have to mess with any of them, although I have found that if you're doing something where stereo is not really that big a deal, forcing it to export to mono is going to make your file be half the size it was before, which is very useful for storage and uploading purposes. Hit save. It's telling me that I'm going to have all my tracks shrunk down into a single mono channel, which is fine. That's what I asked for. Okay. It's asking me to put in the metadata. Now, it has pulled this information from that song that I brought in from the YouTube audio library. And this is actually the citation for it. So, hey, if you like this particular song, it's by Letterboxd. The song is called Far the Days to Come. And as you see, I got it from the YouTube audio library. Obviously, that's not going to be the name of the track that I'm exporting because this is a separate audio file that just happens to have this built in. So I could go in and I could change this information. I could add new information if I wanted to. I'm not going to change any of that right now because, again, tutorial. Click OK. I will get a progress bar that goes across if it is a larger file. If it's a very small file, like it just was, then it's going to export it very quickly. And now it is recording my voice. Now, there we go. That's everything that I needed. And it's an MP3 that is almost a universally acceptable audio file, so that'll play almost anywhere. It even play in a web browser. So that is the basics. There's a lot more that you can do with Audacity. I'm going to save that for future tutorials. This was basically just a crash course. Hey, let's get this done quickly type thing. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.